If you haven't already, this video will make you want to get rid of all of your Teflon pots and pans. Welcome to the Overcome Depression podcast. The tools you learn here can make depression a part of your past, allow healing regardless of your present circumstances, and offer hope for your future. I am your host, Jennifer Stirling-Campbell. So why get rid of Teflon? What's the big deal? It cooks really great eggs. These are the things I used to say to myself that made me keep my Teflon. So why is Teflon so bad? According to thegoodhuman.com, it says that Teflon is the trademark name for the chemical polytrifluoroethylene PTFE. It is used in a variety of ways because it is very non-reactive. Due to the strength of the carbon fluoride bonds, it's also hydrophobic, meaning that it cannot be wet by water. It is therefore a popular choice for cookware as well as stain-resistant clothes. Interesting. Like school uniforms and stain-resistant carpets. I did not know that. It's also used as a repellent of grease in food wrap. Whoa. And containers including pizza boxes and microwave popcorn bags. So what's the problem? Continues. It's been here since the 1940s, this Teflon thing. So why are we so worried about it? The manufacturers have always advised us that their cookware should not be heated to extremely high temperatures, which is crazy because I know I have burned things before. Tragically, never a good thing, but it happens. And so the idea that this could never happen in the kitchen is just ludicrous. So the Teflon company claims that these products will not emit hazardous chemicals through normal use. However, the following quote taken from the Environmental Working Group suggests otherwise. In new tests conducted by a university food safety professor, a generic non-stick frying pan preheated on a conventional electric stovetop burner reached 736 degrees in 3 minutes and 20 seconds, with temperatures still rising when the tests were terminated. A Teflon pan reached 721 degrees Fahrenheit in just 5 minutes, under the same test conditions, as measured by a commercially available infrared thermometer. DuPont studies show that the Teflon off-gases toxic particulates at 446 degrees Fahrenheit. At 680 degrees Fahrenheit, Teflon pans released at least 6 toxic gases, including 2 carcinogens, 2 global pollutants, and MFA, a chemical lethal to humans at very low doses. At temperatures that DuPont scientists claim are reached on stovetop drip pans, which is around 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, nonstick coatings break down to a chemical warfare agent known as PFIB, and a chemical analog of the World War II nerve gas phosgene. So basically, it's extremely likely that if you use a Teflon pan, at some point you're going to be exposed to these highly toxic off-gassing chemicals, as well as, and dare I say, when you're eating, because most of the Teflon pans that I've seen that are not new have scratches on them. You can see where the Teflon has worn off. Where do you think that goes? Probably in the food at some point, probably in your bodies. And I actually watched a movie, one of the best movies I've ever seen. If you haven't seen it and you're not convinced by what I'm saying today, you will never want to use Teflon ever again after you watch this movie. It is so good. It has Anne Hathaway in it, as well as other notable actors. It's very excellently directed, excellent script. It's a true story, and it's about a man who works for Teflon who ends up... Someone comes to him for help, a farmer who is right next to this Teflon dump site, and he comes to this lawyer for help. And the lawyer realizes the corruptness of the company he's working for and actually begins fighting against them, and it almost destroys him. And it's because of his wife, at least in the movie, and the support he got from his law firm as well, that he was able to persevere and continue and ultimately defeat this massive company, or at least get fair compensation for those who were affected by the Teflon. But the movie ends and it says basically that 99% of the planet is affected by the Teflon, the chemicals that Teflon produced, and it's extremely toxic. So quite a tragic corporate event, a very, very sorry time in history, I suppose, but so awesome that good people are willing to fight corporate corruption as well as political corruption and so forth. Anywhere there's massive power and massive money, there's usually some corruption going on. So it's good to kind of follow the money, see what's going on, check it out, make some better choices so that you're not playing into their plans and letting them take you out while they're happy in their mansions. So some suggestions I have for what to replace your Teflon pots and pans with. If you're looking for something remotely non-stick, I would suggest cast iron. Also ceramic. Ceramic seems to be pretty good. It's not as tough as Teflon, doesn't last as long if you don't really baby it, but it's still a decent option, I believe. Cast iron is been around for so long, and you do have to kind of baby that as well. When you wash it, you don't wash it with soap, and you want to make sure that you're putting grease on it afterwards to keep it looking good. You don't want it to rust. But it's actually quite easy to get eggs and other things that normally stick on, say, stainless steel off of a cast iron pan. I have quite a few. I have some little itty bitty ones and a really great big one. I also have stainless steel. I try to avoid aluminum pans because we don't really need aluminum. There's too much aluminum that we're consuming, or that's ingesting, getting in our bodies through water and so other sources. So I choose not to get aluminum. Stainless steel is an excellent option. Cutco has some amazing pots and pans. I love them. They're quite pricey, but there are lots of options out there for less expensive stainless steel cookware. And a lot of them will have different layers where the layers inside are aluminum and copper, and that's totally okay, as long as it doesn't wear through. So those would be my suggestions. If you cook with stainless steel and you're used to cooking with Teflon, you just have to make sure, and this took me a long time to figure out and to just be patient with, because I tend to be someone who likes to cook things fast and get it done. Don't do that with stainless steel. It's a disaster every time. So make sure that you're cooking on low heat. You let it heat up very slowly, wait for it to heat up, and then cook your meal. Be patient, essentially, and just think ahead. That's all for today. I hope you get rid of your Teflon and that your life is better for it. If you are new to this podcast, please go watch all of the hashtag introduction videos first, and then consider downloading the Overcome Depression workbook. Links in the description. The content in this podcast is based on my own personal beliefs, is for informational purposes only, and is not intended to substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please refer to the full legal disclaimer in the description.